Alright, everything should be working as intended. Then good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and Xenos of all ages, to another Tactica Imperialis live stream. Hopefully everything's going to work. I've tried the ritual of turning the Wi-Fi off and on again before starting the stream, so hopefully that little problem that sometimes needs to cause frame drops for no apparent reason should not be a problem. I was hoping we were going to have more Idoneth to talk about tonight, because the way they've handled the Idoneth, what's the word I'm looking for here? Release and preview has been a little bit different to usual. So they've shown us exactly what models we're getting first on the Monday. We usually get that on the Saturday, like the day they come out, we get to see what the preview, what the pre-orders are going to be. They've also shown off far less rules in favour of showing off a little bit of lore and just hinting at some things rather than going all in on it. Did you have Mania Takeover? I didn't get a chance to watch the Takeover, I've just seen some highlights, and yeah, that was incredible. Mania was weird, man. Mania was weird. Like, most of it was a good weird, but some of it was a bit weird. Yeah, there is some Namati hype, I will say. The Namati look actually really quite good, but we'll get to that in due course, one thing at a time. So let's get the introductions out of the way, make sure everything's working and everybody's settled, get any early pressing questions out there before we dive into the previews and the news, as I so like to say. But yes, yeah, Monday was tough because I had an 8 AM lecture, and because of the way time zones work, Mania ended at 6 AM. I wasn't intending to stay up just to keep track of it on my Twitter mentions, but I kind of did because I was curious about, like, I just checked it before I went to bed, and Rollins had just won, and then it was like, oh god, it's the streak match. I was like, okay, I can see that. And it just, at that point I was like, well, at this point I'm just bloody invested. So I just kept watching it. But anyway, we won't go in too long talking about WrestleMania and everything. That was just something that came up in the last stream that I was going to be doing as soon as we finished. So yeah. The Deepkin Walk Battletome cover art is sweet. It is sweet. It is really sweet. Yes, good evening everybody who I didn't acknowledge already. Yeah. Are we going to story time? Yeah, actually, I think we are. Because the My Important story today is a Stormcast Deepkin sort of alliance story. And I haven't read it. I actually have not read it yet. I saw on Facebook that it had been published, but I've not read that story, and I want to know what that story is all about. Damn it! I want to know. So I think we're going to do a little bit of a story time at some point later on in the stream. Yes. Started Blood Reavers, good choice. They make a nice solid battle line for a Khorne Bloodbound army. They're not probably the funnest things to paint. I mean, Kieran probably has got nearly PTSD off of his Blood Reavers, but details. Again, details are important. If Remley's has anything to say about how he's, or if anything's up with him, that's his place. If he wants to talk about it, he'll talk about it. I'm not going to talk about it, if that's all right. Right? Fair enough. Thank you for showing your concern, but it's not my place anyway. So yeah, there you go. Third best Codex or Battletome art. Behind what? Behind what? Because Stormcast isn't that good. Iron Jaws, Fire Slayers is alright. Caradron, no. Seraphon, no. Pestilence, no. Doors of Decay is good, but not that good. Legions of Nagash, maybe. I'm not sure. Exams coming up. Yeah, I sympathise. I'm finishing off my very last unit for a town called Ballas. Then I've got next month. I've got the next month to get ready for exams. Then I might make it one extra hero or something. Hello. This will be a top stream. I don't know. I don't know about that. But we do have news. We will have some stories, and I'll be finishing a model, so should be a reasonably productive stream at any rate. But yes. I think there is a wrecked ship terrain thing. We'll go over the releases. Do you want me to do the rules or the releases first? Because I can talk about the Namati rules quite quickly, but there's not a lot to say there. So it might be worth having a look at the... I'll show you the releases as well, just because it might cause some... Yeah. Custodes, then 5th edition Necrons. The 5th edition Necron Codex was good. I'll admit, the 5th edition Necron Codex was good. Custodes, I wouldn't say so. I don't know. For up your damage, the Lord can get +2 to his damage. Who are we talking about? Oh, we're talking to the corn person. Yes, of course. Sorry, just sometimes you get a little bit lost on trying to like keep track of who's talking to who. Like, are they talking to me? Are they talking to each other? Sometimes it's a little bit hard to know who's talking to who in chat. But yes, that makes sense. Because I don't think the Stormcast can get +1 damage. I think, but they certainly can't get it off a trait. I don't think they can get it off a trait for sure. But yes. Let me just make sure everything is set up. Apologies if any frame drops while I do this. Let's do that first. Actually reject. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yep. Okay, everything's ready. So far as it certainly looks glorious. Yeah, I have to say, the Alfarius model does look very, 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 very good. I have to say that. The Alfarius model looks very, very good. Again, is it the best Primarch model? No, but then it's competing with models like Magnus and Horus and... Oh, there's another one that's right up there, is it the best of the best. They're the two that come like immediately to mind, Magnus and Horus. And it's not, I don't think, on their level, but it's very, very, very good as a model. It's better than Dawn's, it's better than Lorgar's, it's better than Gilliman's. Korax, Kurz, probably better than Korax. I don't know about Kurz. Thorgrim, I just hate the head, so I'm biased. Yeah, it's a very, very, very good model. But all the Primarch range are very, very good models. So the more picture by Fires and Forge where we get it. Yes, well now we actually have his official Phil preview model. I don't know about Perturabo. I don't know. It's alright. It's not my favourite. It's alright. Rerolls they hit on monsters, reroll wounds and damage. Ouch. Ouch. Running Alfaris to Chaos Lord in 48 just because I want to show him off. Yeah, I think Alfaris is the one model you could get away with doing that. Just looking like an elaborate Chaos Lord, whereas all the others are way, way, way over the top for a commander of any sort, I think. So, good idea. I'm not quite sure how you do it with any of the other Primarchs. I mean, Dawn maybe, Gilliman maybe, but the others, it's difficult. Maybe Korax. It's hard to know. No, probably not Korax. We don't mention it because we don't mention it. It's just the way it is. Just let that one lie, if that's alright. Let that one lie. Just because the moment I say anything, I'm probably just going to walk into a flame war, and I'm just not doing that. So, if you wouldn't mind, let's leave it. Does Zeros have 3 different variants of Bloodthirst, or just weapon variants? I actually can't remember if that's the case. I think... Well, there's the answer then. This seems like they do have the variants. I did think they had the variants, because the Wrath of Khorne is objectively better than the other Bloodthirsters. The Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster is just objectively better. Whether Unfettered Fury and Sense at range, I think they've got ideal stats and are just a weapon swap with a different rule. But that's the thing, all the Bloodthirsters have slightly different rules to go with their weapon set. The limited one. Oh. I didn't realise, I never count the limited edition artwork. Like, I just think about the original artwork or the official typical one because it's just like easier. It's just way, way easier because not many people get the limited edition version because, well, it's limited edition, innit? 3040k and also a massive one, yeah, the Exalted one. Exalted? I feel like it's Exalted, but I could be wrong on that one. Or it could just be Scarbrand. Scarbrand would count. No, he's an independent character, he's different again. Though I do kind of like Scarbrand in a weird way. No, no need to apologise, just one of those things. Anyway, should we do some Idoneth? I think we should do some Idoneth, don't you? Because, well, it's in the title of the stream, it would kind of be insensitive of me not to do it. How do you see the future of Primaris Marines as the lore moves forward? They can take it one of 3 or 4 ways. The safest way is that they just integrate for the most part and everything's fine, and there's maybe a few chapters that don't use them, like the Flesh Terrors or maybe the Imperial Fist, because they don't like them on principle. You could have it where there just becomes only chapters of Primaris and only chapters of regulars, so you have them be completely independent of one another. You could have the Civil War option where enough chapters like, no, F this, and flip it around and have them fight each other, but I find that extremely unlikely, just because, well, I just do. Or the other option maybe is that they actually full-on replace the regular Astartes with Primaris, though that would be a long-term project. So maybe in 10 years, 15 years, the regular Space Marines are dead, and they actually overrule them with Primaris. I personally don't think they will do that. They could, but somehow I don't think they will. I don't know why, but I don't think they will. As for they'll do the Civil War angle, I think they'd have to, again, that would be a very, very long, slow burn project. More than likely, it will just be a case of like it is now, where most chapters use them, but not everyone does for one reason or another. I tend to get that version, just not justify the price. Yeah, I get that. I think I buy Sigismund at one point and paint him as a Black Templar. Yeah, Sigismund is a very good model. You could probably get away with doing that, actually. I don't quite know if you'd have to do any much conversion to his armour, but yeah. Wrath of Khorne one seems nice and 40. My friend runs Insensate Rage, the one with a massive two-handed axe. I think that's mainly due to rule of cool rather than actual power. Or maybe it's really powerful in one system and crap in the other. I feel like it's bad in 40k, it's the worst pick, but it's like ridiculous in Age of Sigmar. I feel like, I'm not sure, I'd have to confirm with him why he did it unless it was literally just for rule of cool. Though rule of cool will have definitely been a major aspect. Seeing how I brought about Forest, what happened to his body after he was killed by Dawn with the Alpha Legion getting back into the Imperial Fist habit? Unconfirmed. Though the battle at Hydra was won by the Imperials. Was it Hydra? On Pluto was effectively won by the Imperials. So therefore, if anyone was going to have his body, it would be the Loyalists. But then it's the Alpha Legion, so dunno. Different types use different battalions too. Ah, that's true. That's not a thing I think about anymore with 40k, but yeah, I can see that being a thing. It's like, use this Bloodthirster to unlock this type of battalion. Whereas, use this one to unlock these types of units and get these bonuses. That actually makes a lot of sense. I understand that completely. So yeah. Anyway, I've said my piece now. Let's do the Deepkin, shall we? That was the wrong button. I clicked the wrong button. Go me. So, Xenomati. A cursed caste who rely on soul theft as a matter of survival. The Namati are the largest and lowliest caste in the society of the Idoneth Deepkin. Namati must sustain themselves on the stolen souls of others as their souls were born withering. Where the daughters of Cain might raid for sport or to give praise to their god, for the Namati, it's life and death. Intensive rage might better in 40k, nice horde control. Yeah, perhaps. I'm not an expert. I'm really not an expert on Bloodthirsters, and I've not faced them enough in either system to say for sure. Like, I think I faced the two-handed axe one once in 40k, and maybe once in AOS. I barely faced it, because I've not had an army big enough to face it in Age of Sigmar, and I wasn't playing 40k much against that particular army because most of that stuff is mortal. Also, as ever, absolutely stunning artwork. Like, this artwork is unbelievable, as ever. Lacking eyes, Namarti are hardly encumbered by their blindness and harness their other senses to do their work as menials and builders for the Idoneth Deepkin. So how do they fight despite being blind? Thanks to a lifetime of specialized training, they can detect minute vibrations in the ether sea, the mystical phenomenon that accompanies the Idoneth Deepkin into battle, and detect their foes just as well as any elf that could see. So, yeah, they're blind, but they don't need to see. I'm trying to think of the animals that do this. It's almost like, it's like bats. It's kind of like bats, but instead of it being sound waves, they are able to detect vibrations in another way. You're getting a Drakari feel from the Marty because Soul Thief, because Drain Souls, Soul Thief type thing. However, huge difference between the Deepkin and the Drakari. The Deepkin don't do it for fun. The Namarti and the Deepkin take no pleasure in this. The soul restoration ritual is agonizingly painful to do. They don't like it. They've shut themselves off from pleasure and emotion to try and avoid the dreams of Slanesh that haunt them. They don't like it. The Drakari, whilst maybe at first they realized, oh, we need to like sacrifice others in our stead to reinvigorate our own souls. It's not soul theft. It's more like reinvigoration through pain of others. The Deepkin, it's actual, we will die because our souls will fade. It's a similar vibe, but for completely different reasons and with slightly different methodology. I hope that clears that up. A Thunderwolf Cavalry worth it. Where were you when our Space Wolf player was here? Because he'd have been able to tell you. I don't know, because I've never played Space Wolves and have no intention of playing Space Wolves. Ever. Ever. Mainly because I don't want to repeat armies that someone's already got. I mean, I got to Orcs first. I wasn't first to Tau, but I was first to Farsight Tau, so it's kind of fair. And that we had no Tau players at the time because the person who was playing Tau had sold them. So it was all fine, all's fair. You're welcome. I'm always happy to talk about lore, and the Idoneth are fascinating, so it was really good to discuss. So, on the tabletop then. Namarti units make up the core of any Idoneth Deepkin army, with Namarti Thralls being the only battle line unit in the list, though you'll be able to unlock more depending on your chosen general. I'm going to guess, and I'm just guessing, that the Akelian on Deepmare, the king, will unlock Eel Cavalry as battle line, and I will guess that one of the Isharan generals, i.e. either the Soul Scryer, the Soul Warden, the Soul Render, or the... What was the fourth one? White Dwarf, let me out here. Hang on a minute, to get White Dwarf because I can't remember the name of the fourth Isharan. I got pins and needles. Ow! What is the name of that fourth one? Soul Watcher? I can't remember. Namarti. Soul Warden, Soul Scryer, Soul... Oh, Tidecaster. It wasn't Soul something. That's why I couldn't remember. It had a different name entirely. Tidecaster, that's the wizard woman. Sorry, my bad. Couldn't quite remember what the name was. So I'm thinking maybe the Soul Scryer? Because the Soul Render already does melee and your melee troops are your basic battle line. It won't be the Wizard, and I can't see it being Scrolldew, the Soul Warden. I don't know. But I'm thinking there'll be a way to unlock the Namarti Bowman as a battle line, and I'm thinking there'll be a way to unlock the Akelian Eels as battle line as well. Evening. Watching NJP. I'm assuming that's NJPW. That makes sense. Does that make sense? Thunderwolf with Storm Shield. I can see that certainly being the most powerful build for them because that just makes them ungodly tough. They were like a Thunderwolf power bomb was actually kind of a thing in our local store for a while. They weren't exactly like the best thing in the game, but they were certainly nasty. So the second type of Namati, which is the Namati, the Namati Thralls are the basics, and the Namati Reavers are the archers. So these are your Thralls, and they're also led here by a Soul Render. Just see how that looks on the screen. And that looks alright. So you got the Thralls, which are the guys with the basic two-handed blades. We'll get their War Scroll underneath them, what's it called? A Lenari Blade. Granics of Corn, Sweeping Blow, Strength User, AP 2, Damage 1. 2 hit rolls instead of 1 for every attack made with this weapon. Combo that with Death, bringing you get a sweet Horde Killer. Yeah, you do. So where was I? So yeah, you've got the Thralls here. That's a unit of how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's a unit of 8 there. What's interesting is there's actually quite a broad range of weapon designs. In particular, I think it's actually out of shot for you guys, so I'm going to have to make the image smaller. Look at the right-hand elf, not the one on the step. The one just off the step to the far right. He's wielding an axe, and no one else has an axe. I'm not surprised that now based up Atlantis and Sea Creatures doesn't have a giant kraken as a model. Yes, but they sort of do. In the form of the Deep Mare, which has kind of got like kraken-like tentacles. Let me just, I don't know how well I'll be able to show, it's not out this week, so I don't know how well I'll be able to show you, but that thing in the middle is kind of kraken-ish, probably the closest you'll get to a giant kraken monster. But you do get living tidal waves, giant doom turtles, sharks and eels, and seahorse, kraken things, hippocampuses, campi would be the word. So you've got a decent variety of sea creatures, even if you don't have a kraken. Plus, can you imagine how annoying it would be to transport an actual kraken with all the tentacles in the world? Like, the Tyrannid, I know what I'm thinking of. The thing with, like, the Carnifex crossed with a Venomthrope? Not the Malanthrope, the other one. I want to say Toxapex, but that's a, I think that's a Pokemon. You know the one I mean? It's like a Carnifex or an Exocrine, but with like massive tentacles coming out of its mouth, like a Venomthrope. Or a Gene Stealer. I can't get my finger on what it is. Deathbringer, each unarmed hit rolls a 6, scores 2 hits instead of ow. Ow. That, yeah, that's a combo. That's a combo. But yeah, as I was saying, like with these Lanmari blades, you've got mostly like straight or slightly curved blades, but then this dude on the right has a massive two-handed axe, and that's not hinted at down here in the snapshot of a War Scroll that we get. So I want to know what that is. Is that a special weapon option? Is that just a different design? What is it? A Doom Phalanx is completed. Now my Zine Warriors will have a 4 out 5 out 6 if I have to save at the same time. That's what I want to do to you, right? I'll bap you over the head with this White Dwarf. That's ridiculous. And these guys are also led by a Soul Render, which is the guy with the massive fish hook. There's a shark at the back, and the Alapex, and then the Fangmora Achelians at the back as well. As for their War Scroll, we don't have the full thing. Malanthrope. I thought that was the psychic one. I thought that was the psychic one, that all the brain, the exposed brain. I thought that was that, but I'm willing to be corrected if I'm wrong. Finished a War Shrine? Nice one. Yeah, War Shrines do give some more saves. I do know that. I've run across those in my time. So for the Landmine Blade, so it's a 1-inch reach, 2 attacks, hits on 3s, wounds on 3s, with rend of 1 and damage 1. This is your base Toxicrene. That's the one. Toxicrene. Yeah. Think about the tentacles and you were thinking the Toxicrene. Yeah. It'll just be way too difficult to keep a full-on Kraken monster together. But anyway. So yeah, these elves are going to hit like an absolute brick. Sure, they're a bit flimsy. 5-up save, 1 wound. But they've got a 6-inch move. And with 2 attacks each at rend 1, hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s. They hit harder than Stormcast. They've either got a better hit or better wound roll than Stormcast Liberators, depending on which way round they're built. They've got rend. They're a little bit faster, but they're a lot flimsier with only 1 wound and a 5-up save. I have to say, for basic infantry, that's pretty damn good. For basic infantry, that's pretty good. They're not killing you, just a shield wall. Well, yes, that's true. And they make mention of that with Forgotten Nightmares, allowing them to be the only unit allowed to be targeted at range. They are a good shield, yes. But they're a shield that does fight back. They aren't just there to soak up bullets and arrows and things. They can actually go on the offense. Because first turn, they're going to be in cover because of Tide of Death, so they're going to 4-up save. Then they're going to be able to run and charge. So if you run them forward on the first turn, you can then run and charge on turn 2, so you'll hit quite hard. And then if you haven't done that, on turn 3 you hit melee, and you'll be fighting first guarenteed and getting all those attacks in. They're not to be sniffed at. What worries me is how much they're going to cost. Because if I look at I need to go and get another book here. If I go and look at Witch Elves or Sisters of Slaughter as a decent comparison, hang on. Because they're probably the best units to compare with is the Daughters of Cain basic troops. Daughters of Cain. Et voila. So, Witch Elves cost, what? 100 points for 10, Sister of Slaughter 120. And for that, I've overshot. And for that, you get 6-up save, 1 wound, and less damage. So 2 attacks, 3s, 4s, no rend, damage 1. And that's the case for both of them. As a result, if I'm being honest, these guys are going to be really, really, really expensive. These guys are going to be really expensive. Because if Witch Elves are 100 points and Stormcast Liberators are 100 points and these guys are like, I mean, Witch Elves are a better comparison point. No, they're not going to be 80. Not a chance. They've got a better save than Witch Elves. They've got more damage than Witch Elves with both the rend and the wound roll. They're tougher than save, damage output, rend, and the abilities that they get for defense and offense. I honestly think these guys could easily be north of 130. Oh, 80 for 5. Oh, sorry. 80 for 5. Yeah, these girls are 100 for 10. Liberators are 100 for 5. Sorry, I'm misreading your numbers. Yeah, they might actually be about 80 points for 5. That's actually not a bad call. Sorry. I read the number and then didn't think how many you were saying they were worth. So, sorry. My bad. 80 for 5 might actually be a decent call. That might actually be a decent call because that's on par with... That's on par with Kinnerai. That's on par with Kinnerai. The Heart Renders and the Live Takers both cost that. This actually, it's not really, I suppose it is medieval for Britain, but I always stream at this time, Rowan, apart from when I stream really early. I can kill you than Blood Warriors, but far less durable. Absolutely. Same with Stormcast. Hit way harder, but way weaker. White Guys I'd have more stuff. Not including Forge, they've only HQs, fast attack spin, and Bellicor kind of sucks. Really? You aren't counting demon engines in that? You aren't counting non-marked units in that? Or are you you're talking about demons. You have the Soul Grinder. That's the thing. But yeah, for Chaos Undivided, you have a point. In demons, yeah. Perhaps with other units, or the order units, they shine. 3 up to hit and wound is good on infantry. Maybe a good Grand Alliance unit. Skilled Elves return. Blood Warriors 100 for 5, Grave Fight 80 for 5. Okay. It's going to be an interesting... the price point for Namati Thralls is going to be very interesting. And if it's north of 100, they're going to suck. If it's north of 100, they're going to be in a really heavy tax and they're going to suck. But if they're any less than 80, then they're going to be potentially just spammy and overpowered. So I think 80 or 90, I'm gonna tentatively say 90 for 5. Because they're less good than the Stormcast, but I think they have enough going for them yeah. I'm going to say 90, but I'm not sure. There are also all manner of powerful synergies between the Namati and Isharan characters. That is the 4 infantry guys, the Soul Render with the fish hook, the Soul Scryer, which is the priest guy, the Soul Warden, which is the Soul Warden, I think, which is the scroll guy, and the Tidecaster, who is the wizard. So the Warden of the Soul Ledgers, for instance, the scroll dude, is rerolls of 1s to hit, whilst other Isharan characters will have different bonuses. And the Namati Thralls are going to be on pre-order this week, which is fine, along with a couple of other things that we'll get to in a moment. So 1 heavy support, but bit better. Yeah, close enough. Furies do kind of suck. Right. Actually, I'm going to go over to the pre-orders just so we can talk about them so we know what's coming this week. Just have a quick scribble through of this. Yep. $110 for 10. Is that what Furies cost? Jeez. These models still look bloody gorgeous. Oh yeah, the Idoneth range is gorgeous. There's no other word for it. The Idoneth range is gorgeous. Hell cannons are great, 2d6 mortal wounds per shot, shooting twice a time. Shove off and fall into a warp portal already. Shove off, fall into warp portal. So these are the items that we're going to get this week. I just want to go over this just because I think it's interesting to see what we're going to get, and it'll also give us an idea of a little bit like what they want the Idoneth to do, and we'll also get a look at how long the release is going to take. So Namati Thralls are the core of Idoneth Deepkin armies, combining the aesthetic of elven models of the past with some sinister twists suggesting their darker origins. Elegant armour and weapons clash with brutal iron colours and their half-soul rune, which I think is the mark on the forehead. Looking closely at New East, you'll notice that each is designed to appear to be fighting underwater, with cloths and tassels drifting eerily on the currents of the Ether Sea. And yeah, this is their battle line infantry. I'm going to actually just zoom in a little bit, see what I can see. Yeah, you can sort of see that everything's kind of flowing a little bit freely. It's not locked in place. And that's the iron collars. You've got what looks like... Actually, yeah, this bears discussing. This actually really bears discussing. They're out of match play now as their Warriors of Chaos. Fair enough. Potentially, they are some of the best models GW's done ever. I don't know if they're the best, but they're up there. So, I want to go over this. I can't put my cursor on screen. I can't get you to see the cursor. But look at the variety of weapons that you have here. Alright. That's a thing. Can already imagine a lot of conversions for these guys. Yeah, the Daughters of Cain went straight to Conversionville, and the Idoneth will be exactly the same. So what I'm thinking is these guys will be used to make like mandrakes, as well as other things for that type of Eldari or Drukhari. Whilst the Daughters obviously make good witches, the Kenurai Scourges, the Melisai Slith. You can make a Drukhari army out of these Elven armies, and it's kind of silly. The Fangmora jet bikes, perhaps. Big axe infantry. Well, some of its axes, some of its blades. This is the fascinating thing. So you've got swords, you've got axes. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the chat away for a second, just so you can see the whole image. So we can see, like, above my head, you've got like swords, like straight, slightly curved swords, and you've got this like really quite hooked one up at the top. And then in the middle, you've got what looks like a scythe that looks like a shark. A scythe in the shape of a shark. If you play Carcharodons, you are having that weapon. You just are. And you've got these big two-handed axes. One looks like very cornates, almost. You've got this like double reaping axe thing up at the very top middle left. There's just amazing weapon options. I'm going to take my face cam away for a second. Down at the bottom, you've got this like standard bearer thingy-majib. Really fascinating. Fascinating. Base sizes. How so? Please expand on that point. I'm very interested to see what you mean by that. Please expand on that point. Lotan, Warden of the Soul Ledgers, on the other hand, is designed to appear regal and powerful, wearing ceremonial robes and armour rather than the functional garments of the Namati. And damn does he look good doing it. Favourite detail is the Oktar, a familiar that protects Lotan on the battlefield. I'm sure you haven't missed the knife and the club of this 8-legged guardian, but if you look closely, you'll notice he's also carrying an inkwell, which is, let's have a look, let's get this image up. So yeah, you can see that he's carrying a knife. Looks like they're on 32mm. Curved thing top right. Curved thing top right. That's a sword. That's just a typical like polearm halberd type thing. That's what it looks like to me. 32mm. Why is that an issue again? Is it because because you want them on 25s? Let me have a look through White Dwarf and see if I can get you any indicator as to what base size they're on, like up against other models. There are no enemies there. Okay, I need to flip down a bit later. Can't get a good look at that one. Oh, they've done a very good job of obfuscating what base size they're on. So that's sort of like that. Okay, so it looks like they're on the same base as the Black Orcs or the Iron Jaw Boys. No, if I look at them next to... Yeah, I think they actually might be on 32, you know. They might actually be on 32. 1 inch range means that if they're on 32 on the base, they can't fight through each other and lose attacks. Oh! Oh! I never even considered that. I never even considered that. Wow! I'd never even thought of that. And you see now why I suck at this game. See, Drakari did get some new models of their codex, they just accidentally put them in the wrong box. I hadn't considered that. Good to know. Thank you for pointing that out, chat. So yes, if we look at Lotan, as his name apparently is, you've got a knife. You can just look at the detail. Look at the detail on that armor. Look at it. Look at it. The detail is absolutely redonkulous. On toast. It's crazy how much detail there is on that thing. Lotan is probably one of my favourite models so far. The detail is that I don't like this guy's hat. Well, compared to the other Idoneth who have these absolutely ridiculous head crests, like, stuff me, the head crest on the Soul Render, the Tidecaster, the Eidolon, even the bloody Isharan, not the Isharan, the Achelians, head crests are kind of ridiculous for these guys. So I kind of like it. Like, it's is it Greek? Is there a Greek inspiration to it? Like with the helm and the front? No, it's not Greek. I don't know. I like it, but I can't say why. It's like, it almost reminds me of like it's got a shell. It's like a shell at the top. If you look at it top down, it's like a shell. You're lucky that you're a first offender, or I'd get you banned for that sentence. I'd get you absolutely banned for that sentence. And I should point out, I was also mainly talking about the armor. Just for the record, I was mainly talking about the armor. Make an octopus man and replace model's head with that octopus. Kit Bash go. So the Ood from Doctor Who, for anyone who gets that reference. But yeah, enough of that. Lotan looks great. He really does look great. And I'm just gonna, again, I'll just take the chat away for a second. You can get a bit of a clearer look. So you can see he's got a scroll down there, another one up there, club, knife, inkwell down at the bottom. I'd love to get the 360 view to see like how far off his shoulder the Octan sits, because obviously he's off his shoulder, and how he's connected to the model is actually going to be really, really important in terms of stability. So that's just got to be considered. Oh, hello again, chat. Reminds me of some Chinese house. Maybe. Going to cost a lot of green stuff to make the Octo into a squid with a teacup. Okay. I'm just going to leave that one there and move on. Right. The Eidolon. One of Warhammer's most ambitious models ever, a kit that could only exist thanks to cutting-edge miniatures design and the latest casting technology. Spiel, probably very, very true. From the crashing wave of water upon which it rises to subtle detail across its armour, it is the perfect addition to any Idoneth collection. What's more, it's a treat for builders too, with two builds, the melee-oriented aspect of the storm or the magic-wielding aspect of the sea, while the kit itself is packed with fish and other oceanic life to decorate your base or to add to other models in the range. Looks Gene Stealer cults. Oh, if you want Gene Stealer cults, you want the bloody Soul Scryer. The guy who looks like an actual Gene Stealer cult, not Patriarch, Magus. Well, this is very Greek and Atlantic. Yes, it is. That's kind of a theme that we've got with the elves at the moment. So the Daughters of Cain are drawn from, there's something from Greek society, and then the Idoneth, obviously, there's Atlantis references all over. Yeah, this model is utterly stunning. Like, what do I even have to say here? What do I even have to say? Yeah, the model is huge. Let me give you a sense of scale. Let me see if I can give you a sense of scale. Actually, it might be easier if I go on the big screen. Just for context, that's how big the Eidolon of Matlin is going to be. That's the scale. That's the scale. It's crazy. Alright, I'm gonna hop back over. Fire them will break as much as Celicity. Yes, this model will break all the time, and I'm terrified. So these are the Idoneth Deepkin, a race of elves created from the followers of Matlin after their consumption by Slaanesh in the end times of the Warhammer Fantasy universe. They were created by Teclis, now a god in the mortal realms, living in the realm of light with his brother Tyrion, and he attempted to create new elves to be the ultimate pure beings known as the Sithai, or the Enlightened, the Awakened, or something like that. That went very badly because there was some sort of darkness within their souls, which turned out to be the fact that their souls were either withering away. Teclis then attempted to have them wiped out, and they ran away, hid under the sea because of their connection to Matlin, who they still remembered in some way, though they don't really venerate because Matlin's dead. And they became the Idoneth Deepkin that we know. They now raid the mortal realms, being forced to steal souls from the other races in order to sustain most of their kin, being the Namati, the white-skinned models we had a look at earlier. There you go. It's good, but it's no Doom Turtle. The only thing I changed is that the fin on the head pointing forward rather than sideways. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Though it would look utterly stupid because it would have to be like starting here and it would end up being like all the way back here. It would be utterly stupid. Looks like as big as a demon, but yeah, this guy is a monster. It is a monster of a model. Second best model in the army, behind what? I'm assuming the Doom Turtle. I don't know if it's quite as big as Nagash, but it's going to be on that scale of Marathi, Alariel, Nagash. It's that scale. Actually, we got to go to preview, sort of the rules for this version of the Eidolon. The aspect of the storm. Now, I'm reading this in very, very small print, and I'm reading this in French, so I might get some of this wrong. So, his spear is 2-inch reach, 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s, with 2 rend and damage 2. His hook, which is the thing in the other hand, I'm guessing, or maybe hang on, this is the aspect of the ties, it's this one. This is the aspect of the storm. I can't get the top to show up. So this version has 4 attacks, 3s, 2s, rend 2, damage 2, then another 4 attacks, 2s, 3s, rend 1, damage 1, then another 2d6 attacks, 4s, 4s, no rend, damage 1. He can fly, he gets rerolls of 1 to hit and +1 damage on his spear, which is the one that is damage 2 already, if he charges. As well as that, he can run and charge, and he heals d3 wounds every time he charges. For context, he has a 3-up save and 12 wounds to begin with. You can also reroll wound rolls of 1 for Idoneth Deepkin units within 9 inches, so he's rerolling 1s to wound, so that spear is utterly broken as shit. And he also has an ability at the start of the combat phase. You can choose an enemy hero with a wounds characteristic of 8 or less within 3 inches, and that hero must subtract 1 from their hit rolls for the rest of the combat phase. This guy is utterly bullshit. Oh, and he also moves 12, has a bravery of 10, I mentioned that. So yeah, on the turn he charges, he has 4 attacks, 3s rerolling 1s, 2s rerolling 1s, rend 2, damage 3. And that's only one of his weapons. Jesus Christ. This guy is going to hit like an absolute brick. Oh, the sharks. Yeah, the Alapexes are pretty cool, I'll give you that. I just had a great idea. Build an Exodite army based on an ocean world, mount anti-grav plates and bright lances to those turtles. Nice, I like it. I approve. That's a Neptulon reference, isn't it? Well, it sounds like a Neptulon reference. New levels were pretty decent. Not going to be able to get to play the game with the Archibos. If these guys can't get you back in the game, if the Idoneth and the Daughters of Cain can't do it, then, well, I suppose they're not your flavour. But between the Caradron, the Elves, the Demons, and Chaos, the Sylvaneth, the Seraphon, like, there's so much in this game. If the models can't convince you, I made a video today, yesterday even, about, yeah, what was it? About, like, starting a project. So you might want to go and watch that and see if that could maybe inspire you. Good in melee, run and charge, 12-inch move, gets out buffs, not a leader, flippin' L. Flippin' L indeed. Yes, no mortal wound protection, but bear in mind, if a shooting attack does mortal wounds, he can't be targeted unless he's the closest model. Alright, bear that in mind. Magic is going to be the big weakness of the Idoneth. You will need your Isharan on point to unbind stuff. Can you imagine Karkarin and yes, I mean that Namati with the giant scythe that looked like a shark head. Yeah, of course they did. Wash over the surface. And now you're making more Warcraft references, I suspect. So that's the aspect of the storm, and he's going to hit like a 10-ton effing truck. Bloody hell fire. Bloody hell fire. And also, can I just point out how utterly freaking gorgeous this model is? Like, I don't think I've said it, and I probably said it enough, but flip me. Is he a monster? No. His keywords are Order, Elf, Deepkin, Eidolon, Hero, Aspect of the Storm. He does not have the monster keyword. Forgot about the closest unit ability. If you thought this guy wasn't bullshit already. Oh, and did I mention? He also fights first automatically on turn 3. And on turn 4, he can retreat and charge. And on turn 1, he has a 2+ save. This guy is amazing. Alright? This guy is absolutely incredible. Like, the aspect of the storm is incredible. Like, the aspect of the sea, the caster version, had better be Morathi level. Like, that's what they need. Fantasy's dead. Fantasy's completely dead. So you don't expect to get back like the Knights of the White Wolf and stuff like that. A reference maybe, but this is a whole new system now. Fantasy isn't what it used to be. Fantasy isn't fantasy anymore. We're in a new universe. The old world is dead, gone, wiped out. This is a new start. And if you haven't looked into AOS, I thoroughly encourage you to look into it. I really do. Might be a bear in match play. Love this one unless it costs 360 plus points. I mean, it's got to be north of 300. Like what's this? Like, if I try and compare this to like Morathi, which is unfair in the extreme, but Morathi's 480 with what she can do. A Cauldron of Blood is 300 or 330. Yeah. I think it's Bloodthirster levels. We shall see what it's like when we get the book on the 21st. But all I can say is, fuck me, this model is gorgeous. And it's that good that it's actually making me swear in praise. Wow. And here's that ship terrain piece. So when the Deepkin fight, they appear to be underwater even if they're miles inland. On a small scale, this can be seen by the shoals of fish that accompany many models, while on a larger scale, the battlefield itself begins to change. The etheric vortex Gloomtide shipwreck allows you to represent this on the tabletop. You can use yours to bolster the abilities of nearby Idoneth Deepkin. They've actually done a Sylvaneth Wildwood all over again. Or simply as thematic scatter terrain, perhaps combining yours with treasure chests to create some appropriately nautical scenarios. I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but it does look cool. 320 for a Lord of Change, 260 for a Bloodthirster. Okay. 340 is fine, just not more. It has no mortal wound output or protection. That's very true. Are we interested to see what the magic aspect is like and how well that thing can defend itself? Look. Regarding Fantasy and Age of Sigmar, if it bothers you that much that Fantasy died to the point that you won't even give AOS a look, I'm sorry, but really, Fantasy had its issues. Age of Sigmar has its issues, but it's a new start. It's reinvigorated the fantasy scene. People who I know wouldn't give fantasy a second look, not even a first look, are coming and they're looking at Age of Sigmar and they're thinking about collecting it and they're trying it out. If it bothers you that much that fantasy died, there are fan games available. You can still play with your old models. If you played Lizardmen, if you played Empire, admittedly some of them do need a redo, and that's fine. If you played Slayer Heavy Dwarves, you have the Fire Slayers. There are things you can do if it bothers you that much that fantasy died. Some of the old guys are coming back. If you've looked at it and you didn't like it, fine, fair enough. I understand that. If you've had a go, and you've, especially post-General's Handbook, had a go, because the first version of Age of Sigmar was crap. The post-General's Handbook versions are much better. If you've had a look, and particularly in this modern time, and you don't like it, alright. But if it was on principle of, it's not fantasy, I don't care. Sorry, that one just bothers me. Since you've done video on Minotaurs and Space Sharks, Red Scorpions video in future. 3 words. Watch this space. I counted those fingers in completely the wrong order because I was going to end up flipping somebody off. Watch this space. Like the Nurgle trees. Yeah, probably more like the Nurgle trees. More like the Gnarlwood. I suppose that's more of an accurate assumption. So the models will be available for free on Warscroll very soon, but you will want to pick up the Battle Tome in order to get the full effect. It's packed with content for powerful new spells, the rules for customizing your collection around one of several distinct enclaves. Good, they've kept that thing for the Daughters of Cain. This Battle Tome contains their history as well, and we're proving it in detail over the coming weeks. Weeks, plural. Weeks, plural. This is not a 2-week release. Or sorry, this is at least, well, we know it's a 2-week release at least, because obviously half the Namati aren't out and stuff in this preview, but this could be easily a 3-week job to get the Idoneth out, same as Daughters of Cain was like a 2-3 week job. I think it was a 3-week job. Yeah, I suppose if no one's playing 9th Age where you are, then that does kind of suck, but 40k exists, AOS exists. If you still want to be part of this hobby, well, that's up to you. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I can advise. If you've tried it and you don't like it, particularly post-General's Handbook, fair enough. If you don't like 40k and you don't want to engage with that side of the hobby, fair enough. I can't say any more than that, and I'm sorry. Still personally feel these guys should have been Destruction, given how Order should hate them. Well, we'll get to the story time in a little bit, so I'll be interested to see how they make that one work. But the general premise of why they're Order is they basically want to be left alone. They hate chaos. They hate chaos. They aren't dead. But they don't want to do the soul rending. They don't want to go raiding the mortal realms. It's not their thing. They hate it, but it's an essential part of them staying alive as a race. So that's probably why their Order is. They've proven. Actually, hang on. There's a little thing in here about it. Hang on. Idoneth pre-order on the 14th, yes, and they're out the 21st. Instead of making a video on the Aurora Shoutout or the Howling Griffins, they haven't been top of my list of things to do. The Howling Griffins I might, because I kind of like the Howling Griffins in some ways. Right, Grand Alliance. Yeah, here we go. So this is the last, So this is the last paragraph that we got on the Idoneth, and it goes as follows. The majority of the inhabitants of the mortal realms know nothing of the Idoneth, because because the latter have taken care to stay hidden, to hide their activities by shadowy spells and illusions, so that none know currently of their existence. The survivors of an Idoneth attack will have some vague memories, but they'll quickly die and fall into nightmares from once the magic of the Tidecasters takes effect. However, the continual need for souls of the Idoneth has ended in unveiling their existence to the eyes of several races who look to avenge or seek vengeance on these elves who have devastated their lands and hunted their people for decades. Decades? No, centuries. The Idoneth cannot do much to not easily make amends, because their curse is incurable and they have to continue to steal souls. Despite everything, several enclaves have sworn allegiance to Sigmar and the forces of Order, promoting combat with chaos and to fight chaos. It's a Shanyao. I don't know the word Shanyao. Sorry, I'm translating from French as I often have to do. It's a something era Shanyao. I don't know that word. Hang on, give me 10 seconds while I do this. Come on. Shanyao. Hinge. Oh, pivotal. Pivotal. It's like it's a pivotal era who don't know anymore what the future holds for them. So they've sworn allegiance to order. They're trying to make amends. Have they given the date for the Dark Elf Money to order? Not to my knowledge. I actually have a Lockheed Fell Heart, actually, believe it or not. Is 9th edition flawed? As in Fantasy 9th? Yes. Well, 1, it's fan-made, and 2, every game is flawed. Tree people kill other order groups. A lot of the time it's in sight, only because they want to defend their groves, they are order. It has to do more with the group's mindset, the teamwork. The Daughters of Cain, another example. Marathi and Sigmar are on the surface allied, but the Daughters of Cain commit blood sacrifices and visit the other cities of the Mortal Realms all the time. It's basically, if you're not one of the others, if you work with Sigmar, then you're order. And the Idoneth and the Daughters of Cain do that. So that's why they're order. We've got to look at war scroll cards with reference sheets and tokens for things, and lovely. And they've also released 2 new paints to help you paint the Idoneth, because I'll be honest, I suck at painting flesh. So they've actually put out 2 specific Deepkin paints, Ironrack Skin and Deepkin Flesh. This is nice. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, because I didn't want them to be like my sort of scroll-coloured white, which is sort of like this sort of really quite greyish white is too dark for them. But these guys would love to get their hands on Eldari Soul Stones. Not really. Size of the Emperor. I could do. Like, I know who the Size of the Emperor are, but I don't know if I'd do a video on them. I'll have to see how much lore there is. What colour should I use besides Abadabba? I don't paint well enough to tell you that. Just look at the colour scheme. Get a base paint, get a wash that fits, get a layer of paint done. I think you need some yellow, I think you need some red, and black, and then what I do for my black armour is I paint Abaddon black, then I dry brush it in Mechanicus Standard Grey, and I give it a wash of Null oil. It just stops it being just pure matte black. Yeah. Want to see how they interact with the other factions in Death and Destruction. Yeah. Orcs have been quoted in lore as fighting alongside Orc, but their mindset is not order. Well, bear in mind, Gork and Morka used to be part of the Grand Alliance, and then they just off because they were bored. So, yeah, with Destruction, it's an enemy of my enemy thing, whereas the Idoneth, they actually want to make amends for what they've been forced to do and what they're forced to continue doing. They want to make amends. And they hate chaos. And they want to stay hidden. So, it's kind of like that's their shtick, if that makes sense. I hope that helped. Just make Xandri dust and Buckman's glow for the skin of my Legion drop troopers. Fair enough, that seems to work. And then finally, got some funky dice. I love this artwork. And you've got a 6 and 1, like translucent dice, with 6s as the Idoneth Deepkin symbol, 1s as skulls of an Amati. So you really know you've screwed up. So yes. So this is going to be a series of previews over the next month. This is going to be a big one. Yeah. This is gonna be fun. Dark Reaper with Nor works wonders, highlighted with Eshin Grey, that makes sense. Marathi has to be careful with siphoning souls from Slanesh, or Slanesh might get slim enough to escape. No. Because they've trapped it. It's not like it's just like too fat to escape. They've actually trapped Slanesh. What the problem is with Marathi over siphoning souls is that basically the way that the souls were distributed amongst the 4 powers, Tyrion, Teclis, Malerion and Marathi, was even. However, Marathi took too many to create bulked armies of their half-born. And that means that the amount of Slaneshi tinged souls in Ulgu has become skewed compared to Haish. As a result, the followers of Slaanesh have picked up the scent and have now invaded Ulgu en masse. And that's what Morathi's done. That's Morathi's mistake. It's not allowing Slaanesh to escape, it's allowing the servants of Slaanesh to find Slaanesh. Well, who doesn't get chaos? Even chaos takes other chaos. Yeah. Idoneth Deepkin glass cannons. Yes, but not as glass cannony as the Daughters of Cain. If the Idoneth Deepkin are going to be like a glass shotgun, the Daughters of Cain are like a glass blunderbuss or a glass bloody nuke launcher. The Daughters of Cain are a glass nuke launcher. They hit really, 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 really hard, but they're super flimsy. Whereas the Idoneth have got a little bit of resilience in them from Forgotten Nightmares, their first turn ability and stuff. So yeah, it's a thing. If the Alpha Legion came back publicly, they'd be shot. I'll say that. Let me just answer the Nagash question first. I'll come back to your Stormcast question, because that is also talked about in here. Because Nagash hates the Idoneth. There was for a while the natural order of life and death in the mortal realms. At the point of its death, the death of its host, a soul left for the underworlds of Slaanesh, where it remained in the afterlife in conformity with the beliefs of its people. But since the rise of Nagash, he has subjugated a lot of souls, as he considers that they belong to him by right. When Nagash learned of the existence of the Idoneth, he entered into a furious rage, because they had done exactly as Sigmar had before them, taken from him the souls that should have finished their journey in Shaiish. Nagash hates them. Right, the Stormcast Eternals, let me explain. The Stormcast Eternals are as follows. During the Age of Chaos, which was a time after the rise of the gods in the mortal realms, when Chaos invaded the mortal realms through chicanery, everything went to hell. Nagash died-ish, as much as he can die. Many of the gods went into hiding, and the Grand Alliance of the gods, Sigmar, Grungni, Gorka Morka, Malarian, Morathi, Tyrion, Teclis, shattered. Utterly shattered. Sigmar closed off his realm, Azirheim, or Azir, and his city in it, Azirheim, and locked everyone out. What he does now is that during the Age of Chaos, he would swipe up the souls of those who died. Basically how it goes is the greatest mortal champions of the realms who show themselves as worthy warriors and heroes fighting against Chaos, when they finally die, they are taken, their souls are taken, swept up, collected by Sigmar, and reforged in living lightning in the armour of a Stormcast Eternal. They are given new, immortal, eternal life, hence the name Stormcast Eternals, as warriors of Sigmar to go and retake the realms for the God King and for Order. When they die, they disappear in a flash of lightning and are reforged back in Azir, meaning that they live again. However, the process is not perfect. After several reforgings, a Stormcast begin to lose who they are, maybe default to certain traits, maybe even go slightly insane, to the point they will naturally stop being reforged because they're too insane to keep around. And that is the premise of the Stormcast Eternals. Eternal warriors, immortal warriors fighting over and over and over for Sigmar against the forces of Chaos to retake the mortal realms that were once theirs, or once belonged to their races they once were, and to the gods above them, before Chaos came in, swept everyone aside in a rage and a maelstrom of fury and, well, chaos. Sorry, I got a bit carried away. That's what the Stormcast Eternals are. Living lightning warriors created by Sigmar to take the mortal realms back. And the chat's memeing, god damn it. God damn it, I got swept away doing crazy lore things and the chat was just memeing. Then again, there is also a significant delay, so the chat might have started memeing before I said anything, so you're kind of excused. You're kind of excused. I need to calm down now, because I got a little bit swept away all of that. I should probably get a drink while I do that. I'll let the chat catch up while I get a drink. So I'll be right back. I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy. I sound like a preacher. I'm a storyteller. I've always been a storyteller. That's what my character is in 40k stories. He's a storyteller, a researcher, a historian. Doesn't mean I can't turn on the orator voice when I want to. I know how to do the orator voice. And I can get a little carried away, but hey, whatever. No, I'm still alive, I'm good, I'm fine. They literally evaporate into living lightning and just disappear in a flash when they die, so no, is the answer to that question. Yeah, Sigmar calls them back too fast. Yes, they automatically go back to Azerheim when they die. Mainly thanks to Lord Relictors, because otherwise Nagash might get at them. But they don't. Does Sigmar make everything out of lightning? No. The weapons and armour are forged from Sigmarite, which is cut from Malus, the world that was. The Slaanesh situation is a problem for everyone. The Slaanesh situation is a problem for everyone. Literally everyone. It's a problem for the Elven gods because it's hard to get their race back. It's annoying for the other Chaos gods because their balance of power is kind of all out of whack. It's obviously bad for Slaanesh because these borders flip, probably. It's bad for Order because, well, there are factions doing slightly malicious things with these souls, and also the armies of Slaanesh are flying across the mortal realms all over the place, hunting him down. You have all sorts of things. It's not good for anybody. Electric Ghost is a very, very abridged and slightly dumb way of putting it, but you're not wrong. You're not 100% wrong, I guess. I wouldn't put it that way because I like to look at things in a really positive way, big them up and make them awesome. But I guess you're not wrong. And while I'm in a storyteller mood, let's have a look at the Malign Portent story from today, because I want to know what that story is. I haven't seen it, and I want to know. Damn it. Where's the shortcut to the Malign Portent's website? There we go. Stories. I did click that, didn't I? Yes, I did. Come on. Just want to get this story loaded because I've not, as I said, I've not read it. I don't know what it is. I want to know. Come on. Oh, I dropped a tiny amount of frames there. That's slightly disappointing. I think the capture of Chaos is going to be an amazing victory for Order. It is, but it's implied that not everybody knows. Like, it's kind of implied that Sigmar doesn't know what's going on. And that's hilarious. Like, if you read a Rescued Soul, it's implied that that Sigmar doesn't 100% know what's going on. Be interested if the next campaign that Malign Portents will be based on the realm of Shadow. It might be. They might do Shadow, they might do Light, they might do both. The skull set there, demon skulls, I know Desmond are corporeal and demons are corporeal. Okay, it's freely in any realm in AOS, but does the fact that demon skulls mean 40k demons also have skeletons? I don't think so. It's kind of weird like that. You missed me going on a bit of an epic rant. You missed me going on a bit of an epic rant. If they're made of lightning, what? This is the thing. Like, that's my headcanon of them, is that they're like living lightning in armor. but they're actually re-sculpted, so they actually can take their helmets off. Like the helmets they wear are human visages because most of them were human. As far as we're aware, all Stormcast were human originally, but they can take their helmets off and they do have human features. So I don't know 100% how the forging process works. I'd need to go and like read specific novels on the topic, because I think their bodies are just remade into the body of a Stormcast, using lightning as the transport mechanism of the soul. I think that's kind of another way of looking at it. I'm not 100%. How does Slaaneshi demons make it into the mortal realms? Wouldn't they be trapped in the... Well, no, this is the thing. Slaanesh survived the world that was, consumed those, and then just started to consume them. And then he was trapped later in the Age of Myth by Tyrion and Tactica. So these demons already existed in the Chaos realm, so that when Chaos invaded the mortal realms in the Age of Chaos, there were Slaaneshi demons available to invade. Does that make sense? Now, let me get this story. Sort by order release, sort by most recent. That Which Is Lost. That's what the story is called. It's called That Which Is Lost. All scratching demons to Desmond. Yeah, I didn't actually read your second comment to see if you actually why it said Desmond, but I caught on pretty quickly. So that many demon princes of Sigmar were souls replaced with god stuff, but they can bleed and drink water. It's a bit weird, alright? I don't know all the details. I'm not an expert. I'd suggest trying to find some lore on the matter, like if there's a YouTuber who's covered it, go ask them, or maybe it's in a novel or a battle tome somewhere. I'm really not sure. The Stormcast battle tome is kind of vague in places. It's kind of vague. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. We make Stormcast out of other races. Yeah. I don't know why there aren't. So like Sigmarite demons. Yes, they have the celestial keyword, which is sort of another way of saying demon, because the lizard men are demons of order and they have the celestial keyword. So do Stormcast. So they are a bit like demons. A little bit. They do have souls though. It's a bit wonky, alright? It's a bit wonky. This is the audio series for Shades, but there's some pretty cool stuff on being reforged. I haven't, actually. I don't really generally listen to audiobooks all that often, but I might have to do that at some point if I really got to get into it. Eloquent, as always. So, do we want some story time, ladies and gentlemen? Do we want some story time? Because I want to read this important story, and I don't really want to wait any longer, so if you guys are willing to let me do it, I want to do it. Is that alright? Please? Maybe? Yes? No? Actually, I do know why this... Actually, speaking of Shadespire, though, I know why the Stormcast are in Shadespire is because there's supposedly a secret to, like, fix the reforging process, and they're trying to find it in Shadespire, but they've got trapped in Shadespire, the Mirrored City, so they're kind of stuck there. And that's like, the basic premise, is that there's a way, supposedly, to fix the reforging process so that it doesn't have the degeneration that goes on over time. Or over the process. So yeah, that makes sense actually why there's a bunch in there. New person is asking for story time. Alright, let's do it. I can't wait any longer. Let's sod and do it. So, I might need to turn the chat off while I read this because of the way the screen cap's going to work. Let me check. Yes, I am. Sorry, chat. Bye. So, let's do this. Camastus Lightning Fist levelled his Boltstorm pistol and let fly. 3 skeletons were smashed off their feet as the Lord Achilles' crackling bolts punched through their skulls. Fresh Death Rattle warriors stalked over their remains, closing the gap as though it had never been. The undead marched in lockstep, forcing the hammers of Sigmar to retreat up the rocky headland or be overrun. Rank upon rank of animated skeletons emerged from the grave pits around the town of Shaleview. The Vanguard Chamber had been sent to put down a coven of necromancers who would claim the settlement as their personal fiefdom. Instead, they found themselves facing the entire population of Shaleview, buried, then reanimated as a seemingly endless horde. Sigmar's throne, there's thousands, said Camastus. An overwhelming number, agreed Elethria Stormlight, shooting her own hail of bolts. The Hunter Prime fought shoulder to shoulder with Camastus, while the last of her warriors poured fire into the enemy. Around them, the survivors of the Vanguard Chamber added their own bolts to the fusillade. Lightning flashed ferociously as Rangers and Raptors fired again and again, stepping back with steady deliberation, aim never wavering. Skeletons exploded into bone, or collapsed with skulls shattered and spines severed. "We can't kill enough," said Camastus, his voice crackling with tension. "Sigmar, forgive me." "What is there to forgive?" asked Elethria, blasting the head off another skeleton. "None of us knew about the mass graves. The Coven turned our ambush against us." "I should have known," said Camastus. "Perhaps I did, and something inside me chose to strike regardless." He caught her glance, then immediately wished he hadn't. The two had fought together across 100 battlefields, and Camastus had never seen such a look in Elethria's eye. They'd all heard the whispers, muttered rumours of reforged warriors coming back. Changed. "Now's not the time for self-flagellation, Camastus," she said, ejecting the magazine from her weapon and smacking another into place. "They're going to be on top of us any moment." She resumed firing, dropping 2 skeletal assailants several paces out of blade range. Scroll down. "Damnation," snarled Camastus, and thunder rumbled overhead. "I've overshot. Flip, I overshot." He glanced about for anything to give his forces an edge. There was nothing, just 20 or so stormcasts backing up a rocky headland above churning, slate-grey waves. The waters thrashed to white foam about the rocks below. The clouds boiled overhead, mirroring their fury. That was when he saw the mist, billowing up from the waters below. Camastus frowned as the death rattle advance slowed. The skeleton's movement became sluggish, their outlines wavering. "They look like they're underwater," exclaimed Elethria. "What in Sigmar's name?" "Back," barked Camastus, his voice the dry crack of summer lightning. "Back up the headland, form a defensive line, reload." The Vanguard responded with commendable speed, disengaging from their mysteriously impeded enemies. Yet even they couldn't restrain exclamations of surprise and confusion as ethereal shapes slithered about the skeletons, bursting from eye sockets and twining through rib cages. "Those are fish, or else my eyes deceive me," said Elethria. "I see them too," said Camastus as they dashed up the headland. Taking their places in the battle line, both Stormcast watched what came next with increasing amazement. Scroll past the image. Also, Lord Kilo fighting on foot. Why isn't this a rule? The mist thickened and closed in until the Stormcast seemed to stand upon an island of stone. The muffled boom of the waves was joined by steady drumbeats, pounding as they floated up from some Stygian depth beyond the touch of daylight or warmth. Fast as thought, elongated silhouettes shot from the murk, and huge eel-like shapes scissored back and forth across the headland. Wherever the creatures struck, skeleton ranks exploded apart with spectacular violence. It took Camastus several moments to realise that humanoid figures crouched low over the backs of the fast-flowing creatures and lashed out at the Death Rattle warriors with every pass. Something huge and dark passed overhead, and Camastus looked up in time to see a leviathan of the deeps swoop impossibly down upon etheric currents. Lithe figures rode the howdah upon the monster's back, and as they passed over the skeleton horde, they directed hissing hails of shots into the foe. "Warriors running from the mists," cried a ranger. "Where in Azir are they coming from? There's no ground there," said another. Yet it was true. Pale-fleshed, clad in strange flowing armour, The figures dashed into battle and struck at the death rattle throng with elongated blades and curved bows. "Are they elves?" asked Alethria. "Something akin," said Camastus. "But where are their eyes?" "They need none, for they hunt by other senses." The sibilant voice carried from amidst the mists, which coiled aside to reveal a regal warrior sitting astride a bizarre aquatic beasts. His steed towered over Camastus, the rider pointedly ignoring the bolt-storm pistols now aimed at him. In his wake walked another figure, robed in flowing greys and greens. "Lord Aquilo Camastus, the tide's blessing is upon you," said the mounted elven lord. "You know me, elf?" said Camastus. "How? What spellcraft is this? How have you come to strike so suddenly from the ether?" The lord didn't answer, instead casting a look of irritation at his robed comrade. The second elf worked an eyebrow and tilted his head, staring hard at Camastus. "Look not to me, Amorthis," the robed figure said. "This is no obfuscation of the Isharan. Some other sorcery has clouded his memory, or else damaged it. He knows us not." The elven lord made a guttural sound that Camastus took to be annoyance, then shook his head. "No matter. The tide turns swift, and we must ride upon it, lest victory be swept from our grasp. Lord Aquilo, we are of the Idoneth, and we have fought at your side before, by the dictates of the secret alliance between our peoples and your Lord Sigmar. Will you stare at us like apparitions of nightmare, or will you fight with us to drive back the dead?" Camastus glanced at Alethria, who answered his look with a shrug. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Flip, I've overshot again. "Whoever they are, if they were planning to kill us, they had ample chance," she said. Camastus felt the storm's wrath surge in his chest, and a tight, angry smile stretched itself across his features. Even the knowledge that his memories had been somehow corrupted seemed suddenly unimportant, vanishing behind the gathering thunderheads of his warlust. "The enemy of my enemy," he said, and his words crackled with Azurite force. "All right, Amorthis of the Idoneth, we will settle matters of identity later. For now, the hammers of Sigmar are your allies. Let us smash this unliving scum together." The elf lord gave a flowing gesture that Camastus took for assent, then turned his steed toward the melee down the slope. "Hammers of Sigmar!" roared Lord Aquilo Camastus, brandishing his blade. "Strike like the storm, for vengeance and for victory!" His warriors gave a mighty cry and surged down the headland into battle. As one, the Stormcast and the Idoneth smashed into the death rattle lines and raised a blizzard of shattered bones. It would not be for the last time. I know I fluffed my words a little bit, but oh my god. That is so damn cool. Alright? So damn cool. Wow. Do you understand why this game is so amazing? Just the story, the lore, the character building. It's fascinating. I needed that. Yeah, maybe his Griff Charger did die. Or maybe he didn't have one. I don't know. Hopefully that is a thing in game that we can take them off them. But, yeah, maybe. And no, I believe they are just beasts of the mortal realms of Azir. So, unfortunately, no, I think the mounts are not saved. That was a story from the Malign Portents website. It's, yeah. It's not a book, per se. It's just one of the many stories that they post for Malign Portents. This one showing off the Idoneth and the Stormcast. I don't know if that story is better than A Rescued Soul. I really like A Rescued Soul purely because of the intrigue with Marathi and Malerion. I just love that story because it's fascinating to get a look into the lives of the gods and how they interact with one another. That is a much cooler story for your warriors, for your people who want to know about the fights and not care so much about the politics. That needs a second chapter where they have the aftermath and they're like, wait, why do you know me and why don't I know you? And such, and so on, and so on, and so on. That needs another chapter. Getting into the lore more, I've kind of gone off the Idoneth. They're cool and all, but not really my thing. I get that. Like, they're kind of the same. Like, for some reason, I can completely understand that because it's like the Drakari for me. They look great, decent rules, but the lore maybe isn't everybody's cup of tea. Like, I get why it's not everybody's cup of tea. I love it. I think it's fascinating and fantastic, but I get why it's not for everybody. I don't even play AOS and I love the lore. Well, hopefully the lore inspires you to get an army. I really hope it does. I mean, between the lore and the models, I think there's enough there for you if you wanted to. And had the money. Yeah, I personally think Rescued Soul is better, just for reasons I've already stated, but that is a really good story, and I think it just needs another chapter. Like, that feels like it's the climax of it's like a short, you think about a short novella. You have that Stormcast Vanguard here, we're going to investigate this town, there's the battle and the battle and the battle, and then the Idoneth intervene at the crux of the battle, and you have a sort of little mini chapter of the fighting, and then you have the aftermath. You have 2 or 3, maybe just a chapter of the aftermath, where they're talking with one another, and then they go back to Azir, and like, why didn't we know them? Why did they know us? Who are they? What are they? What's this alliance that they have? I want to know, damn it. Oh, what has this game done to me? I'm addicted. Alright, I'm just an addict. Feed this addiction. More lore, more everything. Ah. Starting to love the lore, the models were amazing, and the rules. The rules I need to see more of before I get a proper say on it. Like, I want to see all of the rules for the units. But as a faction, like the thematics of the lore, the thematics of the rules, they look great. I'm sorry, Daughters of Cain, but I think it's going to take a serious amount of convincing for me to drop the Idoneth now. Has been any mention of the Winter Magic style thing previewed a while ago? No, the only AOS release we've had, or preview we've had since Adepticon when that was revealed, was the Idoneth. That's it. We haven't had anything else, I'm afraid. Though I do want to see it, and I hope we get it soon. Right, so now it's the part of this evening where I get to talk and stuff, yeah. I don't think I can play AS and 40k, though I'd love to play Death. I get that, like, not everybody can afford it, I completely understand that, like, this is what I do for a living, like, I get paid a little bit in ad revenue to do this, so I kind of can justify my purchases by saying, well, I get paid. But, yeah, I understand if it's a bit prohibitively expensive for some people, I completely sympathise, I do. It's why, sadly, I never recommend people to get into the hobby if they're not already into it, because it just costs so damn much. Like, I'm tempted, if I get to the end of a project and don't want an army anymore, to just sell it on the cheap to one of my mates, who's got into Warhammer through me, who can never afford an army, and just say, here, have this army. I'll do you a deal, have this army, and have fun. I can tell you've enjoyed this hobby, like, just talking to me and all that. I want you to get involved with this. Here, have it. I might do that with a project at some point where I finish an army and decide, you know what, I'm done with it. I don't want it anymore. Like maybe the Tau or the Stormcast one day and say, look, here, have them. Make me an offer and and you can have them. Yeah, I have to say, Malign Portents, best thing. Without Malign Portents, Age of Sigmar would have been in a ditch. Age of Sigmar was in a lore ditch at the time. Like, Age of Sigmar's lore was not developed. It was atrociously badly developed at the time of Malign Portents' release, or at the time of the build to Malign Portents. Now, it's in such a better place. And we needed a Malign Portents. We needed Malign Portents to push lore and start giving a place where lore can be collated. That's what this is doing. And Malign Portents might be the single best thing to happen to Age of Sigmar, not because of the rules it brought, but because of the changes it made that allowed the lore to be pushed. What is that with Demons doubles the AOS? Absolutely. Oh, there's Doom Turtles and Doom Sharks, so why cannot? So why not do the just because I've got some Daughters of Cain already, and I love the Daughters of Cain models a hell of a lot. Like, the models are amazing for them, but I think the Namati outdo the Witch Elves, and the Eidolon and the other heroes are just utterly stunning. So yeah. Thinking of making a space on my own great company, the 14th great company. I was wondering what you recommend I get. Well, a great company is a great company. It's kind of diverse in what you want to have in it. It's whatever you want, really. It's kind of built to a Wolf Lord's specifications, if I remember correctly. So, you do whatever you want, in all honesty. Make sure you have your troops, and then go nuts. Also read the lore to see if there's something worth picking up that another great company isn't already doing. So I know there's quite a wolf-heavy one and stuff. Also, yes, asking a Thousand Suns player what to get to Space Horse. How about an Apocalypse? Can you get that for your wolves? I know the Winds of Magic exist in AOS, but they feel much significant than in fantasy as in magic spells. The realms are pretty... Well, the realms are like what the Winds of Magic used to be. Like, the Winds of Magic, the mortal realms are named after the Winds of Magic. And they're built of magic, particularly off what those winds used to be. So that makes sense to why the winds is less important, because they've become the realms in some ways. Yeah. Definitely see the rules. I think the Namati are going to be too squishy for their own price. That is definitely a concern. We have to see what they're going to cost, because admittedly, with the benefits of like the cover on turn 1, difficult to target and things like that, and the ability to retreat easily, I definitely think there's something you can do with them, but we have to see their costs. We need to see their costs before I can make a final call as to how good they're going to be. Why is Rowan please knowing? Meh, whatever. So, what gold? Then again, maybe don't pay attention to gameplay at all. My comment for your video anymore. I did read that comment. I haven't actually replied to that comment. I do apologise for that, so allow me to do it here. What happened with the 7th to 8th edition gameplay change was a huge change. That is not something you can really consider as like, well, next edition this army might suck. If you're a competitive player, you're building for the army at the time. You can't plan around an edition change and a complete rewrite of the rules. You can't plan around that. But playing with gameplay is not just about power builds. It's also about things that allow you to play according to the lore or to the play style of the models. It can be about just play style, not just about play power. It can be about style. So don't completely discount gaming. If you want to put it lower than lore and models, be my guest. But you don't. I wouldn't say discount it entirely, because you can account for all sorts of things. Glad you enjoyed the Space Wars video. I'm glad. I covered all the legions, and that was definitely a good idea, a good thing for me to do. I was doing silver, not gold. Also, is that a reference to Harold Hardrada, the Viking guy who got killed by Harold in 1066? Don't know. Might be. Or maybe I'm looking for references that aren't there. Yeah, the edition change for some armies absolutely killed them, like Orcs and especially pre-Codex Tau. The edition change hurt, but we can't plan around an edition change. Then you think of when anyone mentions Spice Wolves. It's Magnus from TTS. Ah, dear. Who'd win a solid fight? Horus, not even Russ. Russ. Russ kills everyone. Russ kills everyone. That's just how it works. Russ kills everyone. Did I make them silver last time? I made them gold. I made them gold. I think if you do the pure math hammer, I think Russ actually beats Horus on pure math hammer. I mean, Dawn and Horus tag teaming, yeah, Russ would lose, but in a 1v1, I believe the power that Russ has means that he can actually beat him. Adrada Snowclaw. I approve. That's a good name. No, not on Tabletop Movement. Like I say, in terms of Math Hammer on the tabletop, I think Russ does actually win, but sometimes. But lore-wise, Russ was always renowned as the greatest fighter of all the Primarchs. That was kind of his gimmick. That was his gimmick. Is it bad that my favourite leader is 1,000 Suns and the Space Force? It's odd. It's not bad, it's just odd. I miss the old spells thing. A Death Wizard comes again when dead, and surely my Purple Sun. Oh, the Purple Sun was hilarious. The thing is though, that big like virus ball thing, I'm thinking might actually be the return of the Purple Sun. At least I'm hoping so, because Daughters of Cain has given us a bunch of spells that were like from the Lore of Shadow, so Pit of Shades, Mind Razor, the Withering and such. So a lot of the old spells are actually back for the Lore of Shadow, so I'm thinking actually we might get the old spells back. Would be cool for Games Workshop to make a box set this time, focusing on different marines instead of the Blood Angels, and the enemy would be Night Lords. I suppose. But then again, they want these box sets to have as broad an appeal as possible. So the more like army-specific parts or kits they add in, the lower the appeal for the wider audience. Just something to bear in mind. Till the line knocked him out. Well, that was a cheap shot. That was a cheap shot. Russ was trying to laugh it off and Lion just lamped him. That was a cheap shot, and Lion knows that was a cheap shot. When are the streams you're planning this week? I can't stream Friday because of podcast recording. So I'm either going to stream Thursday or possibly... I'm going to stream this weekend, absolutely, because I'm hoping... Well, yeah, I'm going to stream this weekend, but I can't give you exact days. I'm hoping Thursday, Sunday, like I've done before, like Thursday, Sunday. Or if I can't stream Thursday because I'm doing work, I'll certainly stream at least once at the weekend. So Russ and Magnus. It's fine. To each their own. Why didn't Russ tell Magnus that Horus had to kill his legion while the Emperor said bring him alive and was told to get... Because Russ didn't know that the orders had been changed? Bear that in mind. Well, we don't know if Russ did know the orders had been changed. And stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. Could Falco beat Russ in a sword fight? No. This is made for blenders and Night Lords players. Well, yeah, of course you want it just for you, but you've got to bear in mind the wider appeal. Bum, 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 bum. More of why Valdor to go along with your... Yeah, Valdor confuses me. Valdor does genuinely confuse me. I think actually I made a point of mentioning that in my Custodian's Law video. Like, why did Valdor just go with it? Like, he should have said, hang on, that wasn't what the Emperor told me. But then why would he have a reason to distrust or disbelieve Horus at the time? Interesting debate. Interesting debate. And one we'll probably never get the answer to. whatever. Can't have it all. Also, Russ had a sword. Just FYI, Russ used a sword. Then Deepkin, we're going to start a set. What do you think we'll get? Oh my god, we're actually doing it. We're not doing this, are we? Please tell me we're doing this. I'm not sure if we will get a Idoneth starter box, if I'm being honest. It's possible, but unlikely, especially short term. We need 2 by half time. Oh, this game's drawn now. Didn't anyone kind of beat Russ? Yeah, but there's an argument that Russ was holding back. There's an argument to be made. It's not 100% clear, but it's believed that Russ was holding back to try and make a point. A point that Angron didn't take, but a point nonetheless. Is Forger going to make a Sanguinius model? Yes. All the Primates are getting a model. I can't tell you when exactly they're going to get it, but all the Primates are getting a model. It's part of the Horus Heresy character series. So, yes, I just can't tell you when, because I don't know. Nobody knows. Do you have a Mortar? No, I don't play Death. I don't actually have any big models for AOS. Apart, I've got a Cauldron of Blood, which does count, I suppose, but that's at home. And I've got a second-hand dragon that's broken. But like, for my actual proper AOS armies, my Stormcast, and what will probably now be my Idoneth, I don't. Although I do have that Cauldron of Blood, which does sort of count, but I don't have Morathi. Angron is not the best at taking a point. That's very true. Yeah, you could say Russ was just trying to make the point, even if Angron wasn't going to listen. Took one for Khan before he came, and even Prince Khan lost his mind. Valid. Yeah, he did listen to Khan. He did listen to Khan. That is very, very true. Well, that's probably to be at the minute he doesn't even have rules. That's true, although he's going to be in the next book, I suspect, as the Blood Angels are. In fact, they can't spoil everything at that weekend. They were teased Alfarius and they were talking about one of the books, so I suppose they can't do too much. Better be modelled like him with that artwork against Kabanda. We'll see. We'll see how they do it with him. It's a model that they could easily make the best model ever, but they could also just as easily completely screw it up. And it's going to be one of the most judged models of the entire set because of who it is. I don't know if Dawn was afraid of Kurz. I mean, Kurz did kind of leave Dawn to bleed out, but I don't believe Dawn was scared of him. Or if he is, it's never mentioned explicitly that he is. Nice book isn't actually even written at the minute, it's just notes. Oh, I see. Yeah, Latara Saren. That's fair. That's fair. That is fair. Would you like a dual base for Commander and Sanguinius? Potentially. It would be the first time they've done a dual base that isn't Primarch versus Primarch, because I mean they've had Ross and Magnus, Fulgrim and Manus. Oh no, they did it for Loken and Abaddon, I'm wrong. So yeah, if they do Kabanda, that would be very, very cool. They'd have got to do Kabanda. And I don't know if they will do Kabanda. Is the only thing that worries me. Whether they'll do him. I mean, I think they should. So. What's your opinion of Dawn's model? It's alright. It's, for a Primarch, it's not the best. But as a model, it's excellent. As a Primarch model, it's not on the same level as some of the others. You guys see the Primaris collection on GW? No, I didn't. Favorite Deepkin model? Probably the Eidolon. Probably the Eidolon, although shout out does have to go to the Soul Render. The guy with the spear. Kabanda is a bloodthirster who attacked Sanguinius on Cygnus Prime as part of an elaborate trap set up by Horus and attempted to corrupt Sanguinius. He failed, although Sanguinius was willing to lay down his life to supposedly cure the Red Thirst. It wouldn't have worked because it was in service to Khorne, but he resisted. It was resisted eventually thanks to some sacrifices, and Kabanda is now basically the scourge of the Blood Angels. He most recently appeared at the devastation of Baal, causing great amounts of carnage on Baal Primus before he left after the ruins of the Sigurd Maledictum, and then Baal Primus was nuked from orbit and utterly destroyed as Gilliman's fleet left following the reinforcement of the Blood Angels with the Primaris Space Marines. And I'm sorry if that was a spoiler. How big is Commander? Oh, he's a bloodthirster, so big enough. Pretty cool in my opinion. It's no Manus to Red, but it's still like, yeah, it's a good model. It is a good model, but it's not as good as some of the other Primarchs. That's all. He was... helping the Blood Angels is the wrong word. Slaying Tyranids, yes. Also slaying Blood Angels' successors, yes. Not exactly helping. I just want to say it's a bit loud for how it's in my head. But I wouldn't know how to make it less flashy. It's one of the more understated, to be fair. It could have been worse. But I sort of see your point. What do you mean in Alfaris? Good model. Very good model. Favourite Prime model? No, but very good one nonetheless. They made a model for Guilliman and Abaddon. Being in 40k doesn't necessitate not getting a 30k model, although only one model would exist, whether it was for 30k or for 40k. I don't think he'll ever get rules for 30k though, 40k though. They've had a chance to give them to him, and they haven't taken it. Hundred most by 2 Alfaris models. Of course, oh my god. Dawn is just lazy. I think that's being harsh. I don't think it's lazy because it sort of suits his character as a staunch defender. But it's not my favourite model. That's all. And I don't imagine it's as many people's favourite model compared to some of the others. Or is the Khan? Oh, God knows. Hopefully we'll get him soon enough. Maybe he'll be next. Both Chris and Commander were on Cygnus Prime. They were trying to work together, but they failed because the Nash and Khorne don't like each other. I don't remember there being a Keeper of Secrets on Cygnus Prime. I'd need to go back and check that one. Just whether there was a Keeper of Secrets there. There might have been. There might well have been. I can't remember. Are we all driving M42? No, we're in M42 proper now. After the time jump, following the appearance of the Cicatrix Maledictum and everything, and the return of Guilliman, there was a bit of a time jump, so we are now squarely in M42. No arriving about it, we're squarely in M42. I love and hate painting gold. Makes the models look really good, but it's a bloody mess. How expensive do you think Alfaris will be, seeing he's probably the smallest of the Primarch models? 60? Maybe? 60 quid? Farsight is still alive because of the Dawnblade. Yes, Farsight's alive. Shadow Sun was put back into stasis, so she's still alive. Elmvar was assassinated during the Second Agralan War. So, but he's kept around as like hollow projections of his mind that were copied before his death. So yeah, Shadow Sun is alive, although she was kept in cryo around the time of she was put into cryo before the fourth sphere happened, and was awakened to lead the fifth. Forge World is free shipping for okay. So if you're going for Forge World, do it now. Fair enough. Good to know. There we go. Switching to the bits that are on the frame now. Just when on night. Most human attack riders should be dead as well as Eldrad. Yeah, kinda. Sorta, yeah, but hey. Plot device, deal with it. Let's get some Cataphract Terminators for Chaos that aren't Nurgle. Yeah, I mean, you could Chaosify some like old Terminators from 30k, but that's not so easy. Aren't these Scarab Occult Terminators of the Thousand Suns Cataphracti though? I feel like the Zinch, the Thousand Suns ones are also Cataphracti, as well as the Death Shroud. See? Plot device. Pretty score is Charaba Tartarus. Ah, I see. I see. I could have sworn they were Cataphracti. Just because the ones... Actually, no, I think the ones back in the day could have either sort. Sekhmet kits. Ah, sorry. Maybe I'm getting confused with the Sekhmet Terminators, and if I am, I apologise. Stay for the heresy, it was born sometimes before the LRI, sometimes during the Emperor's Unification Wars. I'm assuming you're talking about Eldrad there. Yeah, that sounds about right. That is about correct, I think. From what I remember. I think I covered Eldrad in my video on Psychers. What's going on in Age of Sigmar? Any good books to read to get started on? I don't know where to get started aside from like the Realm Gate Wars, the Battle Tome for Your Army, that sort of thing. Like for YouTube, as they just mentioned there, 2+ Tough. I've not watched their stuff, but they do AOS lore, and that's not a bad place to start. So if you're wanting it in a YouTube format, go to them, and there should be some other stuff hopefully in their recommended list, or that they know, or just in the suggested videos below. Or Realm Gate Wars, probably a solid place to start. Battle Tome for Your Army, if you've got a particular army you want to know about. Or just look it up and see what you can find. If you also just want like a bit of a window in, even if it's maybe not the best place to start, then taking a look at the Malign Portent stories is never a bad idea, because they are absolutely excellent. Scarab Starters had to check. They used to be Cataphracti. Yeah, they were Cataphracti back in the day, the Special Thousand Suns Terminators. But if they're Tartarus now, then fair enough. I apologise for my error. Death Guard went from Tartarus to Cataphracti. Define irony. Define illogical. I'm not sure what the Death Guard actually have in the most recent iteration of them in 30k. I haven't played 30k in so long, and I'm not up to date on what's what at all. So I couldn't say whether that is old lore, as you put it. Though it is true that when the Death Guard were originally done as part of the first of the Legions, there was, I don't believe, Cataphracti Terminator was always an option. It was always an option. Death Guard have a unit in both 30k and 40k with the wrong patterns. I suppose so. I always get confused in the different versions of Imperial battle suits. How so and why? Because hopefully I can shed light on that if you're able to elaborate. Who had it worse growing up, Angron or Kurz? Kurz was just living in a crime-filled city enacting justice on its inhabitants, and it was a bit shitty, but it could have been a lot worse. Angron was an actual slave. So, Angron by an absolute mile. And I'm sincerely hoping the rest of the chat will agree with me on that. Sharing a planet with Kurz back then was worse than with Angron, because if you were living on Euceria, you had a super powerful slave you could go and see. If you were living on Nostramo, you had the Night Haunter, and he was hell. Although, to be fair, he was a fair and just ruler until you peed him off. And then you were screwed. Or dead. Probably both. Definitely both. As a kid, it was just Terminators. Now there are Cataphracti, Tartarus, and there's only three. There's only those three: Cataphracti, Tartarus, and the modern era Terminator armor. Tartarus is slightly more maneuverable, whereas Cataphracti is more durable but a lot slower. So Cataphracti in game has a 4+ invulnerable save, but you also had what was known as slow and purposeful. You couldn't run. And you were generally a lot slower. In Tartarus armor, you could still do stuff at a higher speed, but you did trade off a little bit of defense. Grave Warden should have Cataphracti, and Death Shroud should have Tartarus. The Death Shroud were bodyguards. The Death Shroud were the bodyguards of the Primarch and high-ranking members of the Legion. So them having the more durable armor does make sense. It does. I wasn't sure whether I was going to need to do that, Rowan. That's why I did the last one again, which was effectively a warning. The classic Terminator armor is the Dominus pattern. Is that what it is? Yeah, that sounds right to me. Or is it Indomitus? I can't remember. How does the oldest pattern character is next and Indomitus is the newest? Yeah, Indomitus is the modern era, so yeah. Yeah, I'm going to need to neaten this up drastically, but that's the gold, I think. Yeah, that's the gold. Right, I need to mainly neaten up the black and the red, and then that'll be base coat done. Yep. Hence why the oldest can't have Storm Shields. Huh, I suppose so. Storm Shield is probably a new attack, or just incompatible. Hadn't considered that. Do 9 warriors have their own pattern of Terminator armor? I can't remember. I'd need to go back and look. I feel like no, but then I'm willing to be correct. They had their own like unique Terminators, or at least I know the Iron Hands did, the Gorgon pattern. What was that Iron Warriors? I think they some legions did do unique things with their Terminators, but I don't think they had unique patterns, just like unique armaments or things. Do you reckon some of the Thunder Warriors had access to prototype Terminator armor? I don't know, and I don't know if we'll ever get a Thunder Warriors army to really validate that one either way, unfortunately. I don't think we'll ever know. Some things are just lost to time. That being one of them. Indominus tested by the Fist in 30k. Tyrant Siege Idoneth is just a special loadout. I thought, yeah, it was more likely. I thought it was probably more loadout. So there were a lot of different Terminator groups who did have unique loadouts, like the Grave Wardens, for example. No, basically we know very, 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 very little of the Thunder Warriors. We know enough to know they existed and a little bit about what they were like, but the intricate details like that, not so much. Those sorts of details are lost to us, unfortunately. And probably always will be. Sadness. Oh, I haven't done the blue. Whoops. I haven't done the blue. Didn't get a chance to catch that one before that got retracted. Don't think so. There's their own type of Terminator. Yeah, the Alarus Terminators, I think it is. Alarus? Something tells me it's Alarus. And I think that is unique armor to them, I think. I haven't actually read the New Custodes Codex to validate that, though. 30k is my favourite system, hence why I remember. Yeah, that's fair enough. If you know, you know. I'm not going to argue with you if you do know. The Imperium has atrophied over my years. Just the cliff notes. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I know too much. I can only remember, like, I know a little bit of everything, but not enough. Sometimes I feel like some things I know in great detail, but some are just like, oh, I've studied this and I vaguely know what that's on about. But yeah, I sympathise. A Keelan Terminator, oh, that might be it. The 2 patterns, right? That makes sense. I know there is something unique about that Terminator armor. I can't again put my finger on all the details. Alarus is the name of the Custodes Terminators. Right. Yeah. I feel like I'm not doing my job well enough. Like, I know enough to do my research and do my videos, but then sometimes you lose so much of it along the way. It's almost like, come on, I should know that. I wouldn't say it's a curse per se, it's a meme. Though some would say there's no difference between the two. Because studies are a pain in both systems, it's fine to forget about them. It's not just that, it's like I do know a lot about this game and the lore of it, but there are just some things I haven't studied or haven't read, so I just don't know. That does happen a lot. Right, I want to do 2 lots of dry brushes. One for the charge of itself. Did I want this one to be greenish or bluish? That one's very bluish. But then that one's the green one, and I've done that one before. Office Dagger on base. Yeah, I think I want to do blue this time. With the lore, it's supposed to take the resources of an entire planet to make a sturdy armor, so I wonder how much it takes to make Terminator armor. Probably more. I couldn't say how much more. I'm not an expert. Right, skink blue. Just FYI, because I can't completely focus on watching. Giving 1 chance before I just outright mute people. And as if on cue. What is it with the past 2 streams and people coming in and saying utterly stupid shit? You don't need to worry about it. I can keep an eye on it. You don't need to moderate it yourself. I can do it. I'm glad you're here, but I can do it. Yeah, it's just I know there are people who say stupid shit, sometimes because it's what they genuinely believe, sometimes because they just want attention. But it's just that the last 2 or 3 streams, it's been a lot more than usual. It's just like, ugh. Could you not? Like, whatever. Part of me thinks it is memes, and just people thinking it's funny, but it's not funny. It's not funny. It's really, really not funny. Well, whatever joke that is, that's got a terrible punchline. Blood Angel, the Blood Raven, and the Salamander all walk into a bar. Any a something walk into a bar jokes always have terrible punchlines. Always have terrible punchlines. And to be fair, yeah, Rowan's fair about it. Like, Ben has his strike system, and he warns you, and then he warns you, and then he chucks you out. But Rowan is fair with it, and I do thank Rowan for doing what he does. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the mods who do what they do, because, well, without them, it just makes things much more difficult for me. Oh dear. Well, you can't start a joke and then not have a punchline ready for it. Come on. That's just bad form, sir. That's just bad form. Yes, I think we've all come across that particular version of the punchline. And now we're arguing about the feasibility of the punchline. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Never change. It's funny actually you say that about the Blood Ravens, because when I did my video on the Blood Ravens, people just like there was a slightly mixed reception to the Blood Ravens as a concept. It's one of the most viewed lore videos of recent times, but yeah, in terms of like raw numbers, it's one of the most viewed lore videos I've done since the rework to statistics, meaning that I don't get as many views on the lore video, but it's done well, and there's a lot of comments on it. It's just like some of them are Dawn of War memes, some of them are just generic memes. And some of them are like critique of like the lore, and it's like how much it doesn't make sense and all that stuff. They're an interesting one to talk about, the Blood Ravens. They're an interesting group. You can add an E into the middle of that, and then you might actually have something worth saying. Right, that's that bit of the base count done. So now I just want to do the grey dry brush for the armor, and then the base coats will be done, which will be lovely. 2.5 hours. How have I been going for 2.5 hours already? This is ridiculous. I've just done the usual stuff. I mean, the story only took like 10 minutes. Like, how have I been going for 2.5 hours? It's bad. I was sort of expecting a sort of punchline that went along with they all woke up, like one of them woke up covered in blood, the other had his eyebrows burned off, and the other couldn't remember who or where he was, because Blood Ravens. That's what I was going with, and I think mine is also terrible, so I couldn't, so it was like a bad version of The Hangover. That's the best I got. That's the best I got. I'm not a funny person, really. My best humour is the slightly one-linery wit remarks that I make in 40k stories. Sometimes like they're my best humour. I don't do jokes. I do cripplingly bad sarcasm and slightly edgy, witty one-liners as commentary. That's the best I can do. Sorry about that. I like where you were going with that. It had movement and progression. To them, that would be a normal way to wake up. It's not good. It really wasn't good. Like, if that's classed as good, then... There we go. Space Wolf falls into the bar, and within a minute the barkeep is bankrupt. Ha! Ah, dear. Well, actually, no, that's not true. Because to be fair, the stocks of the bar would be empty, but because generally, Space Wolves are honourable enough to pay for their own damn drinks, surely the barkeep would be so rich he could close forever because he sell them on an upkeep. They sell them on at an upcharge. Surely. So surely it's the other way around. Unless the Space Wolf was enough of a dick to say, I'm not paying for these. I am not known for memes. The nearest I have to memes is playing Fast like Tau, because that's a bit of a meme strat. That's like that. I don't do memes very often, and generally I do them very badly. Oh god, is this what this stream has degenerated into? We've gone from discussion of models and lore and fascinating things to bad jokes and memes. Why did this happen to me? Do 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 do. Wow. Wow. It's mad. That's mad. I've got so much to watch after this. Thinking the wolf would cause a bar brawl and the pace would be totaled. Also plausible. Space Wolves are the easiest to lend themselves to memes. This is true. Space Wolves very easily lend themselves to memes. Part of me kind of just... they're getting tired. Yeah, I suppose I'm probably going to be getting very tired very, very soon. Like, I don't want to be going for like beyond 3 hours again. So, and if I start doing the washes and then the highlights to get this model finished and then the assembly, because that's going to be a nightmare because it's a Vanguard Palador, I think I'm going to call it for the painting and then probably call it for the stream. That model's ready to be washed and highlighted and put together. But I don't want to do it now just because it'll take me another like hour or more to do, and I don't want to be here at that time because I want to get a good night's sleep and all that jazz. Sorry, whack the bloody microphone again with frames, go me. I can't come up with one for that. Last time's model was actually the same model. I'm still working on the same one. I did most of the base coating on last time, on Sunday's stream. I finished the base coating today, and then I'll do the washes and highlights on the next stream and get it finished, and maybe start assembling the one after. Because obviously the next time we're going to have a lot more to discuss with the Idoneth. Hopefully there'll be another at least 2 days, if not more, worth of articles to discuss with the Idoneth and all of that stuff. So I don't know quite how much I'm going to have time to do that. And yes, that is actually quite clever. Anyway, I'm gonna call it a night. Just gonna want to get a decent night's sleep and maybe do a little bit of work before I go to bed. So thank you very much for coming out to the stream. It was a pleasure, as always. Got to look at the Idoneth, and I'm really glad that you guys are enjoying the Idoneth because they are definitely a lot of fun and all of that stuff. So yeah, thank you very much for coming out, and I'm not sure quite when I'll be streaming again next, whether it will be Thursday or it will be at the weekend, because it won't be Friday because I'm podcasting. We're recording it at Podcastus, but I will endeavour to stream in the not too distant future because I want to talk about the Idoneth again. And then of course on the 21st is the day the Idoneth Deepkin Battletome comes out. I'm hoping to go to GW that day and actually buy the damn thing, so I might actually do a special Saturday stream. Either go really early, which is unlikely, buy the Battletome and stream early before 40k Stories, or I'll wait for a few hours until the evening after 40k Stories come out, because I don't want to overshadow 40k Stories release too much. So I might stream late Saturday night, or if I don't want to do that, I will just stream on the Sunday, and we'll have an Idoneth Deepkin preview, and we'll have a chance to read the lore, discuss the Battletome together, and have a lot of fun with it. So, in the meantime, thank you all for watching, ladies, gentlemen, and Xenos of all ages. This has been Tactica Imperialis, and I will see you all next time. Thank you very much, and good night.